All right, so last time we talked about these three techniques: signaling, segmenting, and weeding. And we're going to delve a little deeper into this one here, signaling. So let's start with this. As I'm talking right now, I'm feeding you this sort of constant stream of facts and concepts and ideas. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to organize that into some sort of cognitive representation, some sort of mental representation that's bigger than the stream of words. So what do we do to help students do that? Well, what signaling says is say that this is coming through the audio channel, right? Signaling will use the visual channel to indicate what's most important, right? So for example, we might use signaling to indicate that this is a main idea. We might use it to indicate that this idea is really a parent idea to these two ideas, right? Does this sound really familiar? It probably should, right? Because if you think about something like a PowerPoint, that's what you're doing. I mean, if you're using PowerPoint correctly, most of PowerPoints are actually about signaling, right? And so here we can go and jump into this. So you have a PowerPoint here, right? And what does it show? It shows the main ideas. Maybe it shows like a sub idea here, right? And so this audio channel is sort of this uninterrupted stream, but you're showing the structure of your talk. You're showing the structure of the ideas through the PowerPoint, right? So one way to do signaling is just with a PowerPoint. And once you think about that, we'll talk about this in a minute, it also leads to some ways of thinking about what you're trying to accomplish with a PowerPoint. You can do this other ways as well, right? So yes, so we can absolutely do this through a PowerPoint, right? But we can do this, what am I doing right now? We're doing a virtual whiteboard activity here, right? So using this whiteboard, as I talk, well, see, spelling, not so great. As I talk, I'm calling attention to where I'm in the talk. We talked about PowerPoint, now we're talking about the whiteboard, right? We're giving some sense of the structure of the talk as I go and I do this whiteboard activity. We're signaling. People also use just physical ways, kind of quirky ways. So you can take a document cam and you can do note cards, right? So note cards under a document cam, you get a bunch of like index cards, right? And you make your concepts on them. You put your concepts. I don't know what concepts to put here. Let's you have like cognitive overload is one of your concepts maybe. Another concept is motor memory or something. And you just kind of arrange them under the document cam. Like it's this video of you arranging these index cards as you do your talk, it can be quite compelling. Now, here's what to remember about all three of these, right? Is, this is so true of so much in educational theory. It's not about the mechanism, right? Not about the mechanism. And what I mean by that is whether you're doing PowerPoint or whether you're doing a whiteboard or whether you're doing note cards, the same sorts of principles apply, right? So what are some of the principles of doing signaling? First, when you're signaling, right? Oh, geez, that's a mess up. There we go. When you're signaling, use it sparingly, right? Think about it this way, right? If you sparingly, if you had a GPS and what your GPS did was it told you every step, it's like, go past the Kmart, go past the fire hydrant, continue past the A&P, right? It wouldn't be that useful, right? It wouldn't be that useful, just sort of narrating what you were doing as you were driving, right? It's useful because it really serves to organize. It serves to highlight the important points. So you may have learned this early when you were when you first got into using PowerPoint, right? If you duplicate exactly what you're going to say, it's not going to help, right? It's not going to help the students. It's not going to help the students because if the visual channel is as thick with information as the audio channel, it's not helping organize. It's not helping simplify anything. So this is one. Two, right? Tie the guidance to where you are, right? Use location. And this is particularly important as we move online. So you know that I'm at this point here because that's what I just wrote, right? You know that this is what we're talking about, use location. You know that this was what we talked about previously, and now we're here, right? And in a PowerPoint, when you're using a PowerPoint, if you think about the classroom situation, here you got your screen and you got you, and then you have your PowerPoint, and maybe your PowerPoint has all these different points on it, and you hang on your PowerPoint for, I don't know, you hang on your PowerPoint for like 5 minutes of your talk is on this one slide, right? What are you doing in the classroom? Well, you're using your hands and you're kind of pointing to where you are. Like as you move through it, you're like, okay, we're here now, right? We're here now. Now remember that when you get online, no one can see your arm, right? No one can see your arm pointing to those points on the slide. So you're going to have to signal in some other way where you are in the presentation. And that might be through annotation with a tool like the one we're using now. That might be through your cursor. That might be through structuring the PowerPoint so each bullet gets revealed one at a time, right? The final point, and this is not at the level of the other recommendations, but occasionally you can switch back and forth, right? So if you think about doing this, when we do this whiteboarding thing, I'm not going to switch back and forth and like go to my video and back, right? And that's pretty common for a whiteboarding activity. But if you're doing a PowerPoint, I find sometimes the students like it if you, get away from the PowerPoint occasionally and kind of talk directly to the camera and then go back into the PowerPoint, just kind of have a rhythm in a flow. So that's signaling, right? So signaling, again, we are using we're using the visual channel usually. It can work the other way too, but we're usually using the visual channel to help the students organize the audio channel. And we're doing that in a really intentional way. We're doing that by using it sparingly, not making the map the territory, using location, being really clear where we are in the text. And occasionally we're humanizing it by switching back and forth. Our next technique is going to be segmenting. And so after you do the little activity in between here, I hope you'll join us for that.